Welcome to Zoe Stories. Dad walked in while I was doing my makeup. My name is Liam Carter. On paper, I'm just another 23-year-old trying to figure life out. A recent college graduate with a degree in graphic design, working part-time at a small agency while I freelance from home. I live in a modest two-bedroom rental in the suburbs of Portland, Oregon, with my girlfriend, Emma. We've been together 2 years, and by all outward appearances, we're the perfect couple, supportive, comfortable, always laughing at inside jokes. But there's one thing she doesn't know about me. Something I've buried so deep that even I'm afraid of it. I wasn't always into makeup, or dresses, or heels. It started slowly, curiosity mostly. Years ago, I tried on my sister's lipstick as a joke when no one was home. I expected to feel silly, or maybe embarrassed. Instead, something inside me clicked. It wasn't about looking feminine, not at first. It was about seeing myself in a different light. About control. About softness. Over the years, that curiosity became something more. A habit. A hunger. But it always lived in the shadows of my life. Now, with Emma, things are complicated. She's kind, ambitious, grounded. She works as a nurse and often comes home tired, but still glowing with life. I love her, truly. But the part of me that needs to express itself through femininity, that part has no space in our relationship. I've told myself over and over, it's just a phase. You'll grow out of it. But I never do. So I wait for nights when Emma has double shifts, or when she visits her sister across town. I wait for silence. For the safety of solitude. That's when I open the secret box under my bed, the one with the black lace dress, the thigh-high stockings, the red lipstick I spent an hour comparing online. That's when I allow myself to breathe.
And today?
Today was one of those rare days. The morning sun spilled gently through our living room window, casting soft gold light across the hardwood floor. I made coffee, sat at my desk, pretended to be normal. Emma had left early for her shift and wouldn't be back until after midnight. That gave me time, precious, uninterrupted time. As I finished a few design revisions for a client and closed my laptop, I felt my pulse quicken. My fingers tingled with nervous energy. It had been weeks since I'd last let her out, the version of me that lived behind locked doors and soft fabric. I double-checked my phone. No missed calls. No texts. I was alone. Finally. With practiced care, I pulled the storage box from under the bed. Every item inside was chosen with intention. The creamy foundation that matched my skin perfectly, the soft pink blush that made my cheeks glow, the long auburn wig that framed my face just right. Each piece wasn't just clothing or makeup, it was a ritual. A return to something real. I walked to the mirror, heart pounding, and began. The foundation smoothed over my skin like silk. With each stroke of the brush, I could feel my posture shift. My breathing slowed. I was becoming her, not a name, not a caricature, just her, the version of me who didn't apologize for beauty. I had just finished my eyeliner, hands trembling slightly, when I caught my reflection in the mirror. There was a softness to my features, a vulnerability I didn't show anyone else. I smiled, even if it was just for me. Then came the lipstick. Ruby red. A color that would never leave my drawer if Emma were home. I pressed it carefully to my lips, savoring the glide, the brightness, the courage it gave me. As I leaned back to admire the result, a thrill rippled through me. It wasn't just the transformation, it was the risk. The freedom of existing, even for a moment, outside the rules I'd written for myself. I didn't hear the front door open. Not until it clicked shut. I froze. Footsteps. Heavy. Slow. Coming from the hallway. My blood turned to ice. No, it couldn't be Emma. She was working late. The footsteps grew louder. Closer. My heart slammed against my ribs as I turned, too slowly, toward the doorway. And that's when I saw him. My dad. Standing there. Mouth open. Eyes wide. He was supposed to be in Seattle. A business trip. He hadn't visited in months. He looked at me, not through me, not past me, at me. At the red lips. The painted eyes. The tight black top clinging to my chest. The silence stretched like wire pulled too tight. "Liam?" he said, his voice low, uncertain. And just like that, everything shattered. I couldn't move. I couldn't speak. I was still holding the lipstick in my hand, cap off, trembling slightly. Dad's eyes flicked to the red smear on my lips, then down to the short black skirt hugging my hips. He blinked, as if trying to clear the image from his mind, or hoping it wasn't real. "Liam," he repeated, softer this time. What is this?" I looked down, suddenly hyper-aware of every inch of exposed skin, every trace of mascara clinging to my lashes. My voice was stuck somewhere between shame and fear. I wanted to cover myself, to scream, to vanish. But I couldn't. "Dad, my voice cracked. "It's not what it looks like." He stepped inside, slowly closing the door behind him. "No."
His voice was strained.
"Because it looks like you're—" He stopped himself, jaw tight, fists clenched. I saw it all in his face. The confusion, the judgment, the disbelief. My father was a traditional man, an ex-military contractor turned corporate consultant. His world was black and white. This was neon chaos to him. I stood in front of the mirror, still half transformed, caught in a fragile moment I'd always feared. My two lives had collided violently, and I was exposed. "I didn't know you'd be here," I finally said, voice small. "You weren't supposed to be here." He shook his head. "That's what you're worried about? Me seeing this?" "I didn't mean for you to find out like this." "Then how, Liam?"
His tone was sharp now.
"How exactly were you planning on telling your old man that you liked dressing up as a—" "Don't," I snapped, louder than I intended. "Please don't say something you'll regret." He froze. That silence again. This time, thick with unspoken rage and disappointment. I turned away, gripping the edge of the dresser to keep from collapsing. "You're my son," he muttered. "I'm still your son," I said, meeting his eyes in the mirror. "I'm still me." But I could already see the wall going up between us. Years of expectations, masculine ideals, football games, camping trips, all crumbling into confusion. He didn't speak after that, just walked out, closed the door, and left me standing there, mascara smudged, hands shaking. I changed quickly, tearing the skirt off, wiping the lipstick with trembling fingers. But no matter how hard I scrubbed, I couldn't remove the look in his eyes. By the time I emerged from the bedroom in jeans and a hoodie, Dad was sitting on the couch, staring blankly at the TV. The screen was on, but the volume was muted. I stood awkwardly in the hallway, unsure if I should sit beside him or walk out the front door.
He didn't look at me, didn't speak.
Just sat there, as if trying to forget what he saw. So, I did the only thing I could think of. I left, grabbed my keys, stepped out into the cold air, and drove aimlessly around the neighborhood. For hours, my mind was a whirlwind. Why did he show up today, of all days? Why didn't he call first? What was I supposed to say now? How do you explain something like this? Not just the clothes or makeup, but the need behind it. The part of you that feels more alive when the mask comes off and the lipstick goes on? By the time I returned home, the sun had started to dip below the horizon. The house was quiet. Dad was gone. But he'd left a note on the kitchen counter. "Liam, I don't understand this. I'm trying not to judge, but I need time.
We'll talk eventually, Dad."
No phone number. No warm closing. Just confusion and retreat.
Typical.
For the next 2 days, I didn't dare open that box under the bed. I kept my head down, stuck to work, avoided Emma's curious glances when she noticed how quiet I was. I told her I was stressed from deadlines. She kissed my forehead and said she understood. She had no idea I was unraveling inside. But the need didn't go away. If anything, it got stronger. The shame twisted with desire, shame turning into obsession. I kept replaying that moment. The red lipstick, the frozen doorway, my father's stunned silence. I should have felt disgusted with myself. I should have been terrified. And I was. But I also felt alive.
Seen.
Even if it was the worst possible moment. On Thursday, Emma told me she'd be gone all night, a double shift. I nodded, casually, like it didn't mean anything. But once she left, I locked every door, pulled the blinds, and slowly, cautiously, opened the box again. This time, I chose something softer. A pale blue slip dress. Something that felt less daring, more delicate. I needed comfort, not thrill. I laid it across the bed, then sat in front of the mirror. I studied my face, unshaven, tired, haunted. But as I picked up the primer, as I dabbed foundation onto my cheeks, something in me relaxed. My breath evened out. The tension in my chest eased. I layered blush, mascara, a faint shimmer on my lids. Each stroke felt like reclaiming something, a piece of myself lost in shame. The blue dress slid over my body with a whisper. It hugged me gently, like an apology. I stepped into a pair of nude heels, stood in front of the mirror, and stared. This was me. Not all of me, but a truth I could no longer deny. Then I heard a car door slam. My heart stopped. I rushed to the window, peeking through the blinds. It wasn't Emma. It was our neighbor, Mr. Holloway. He was walking toward his house with a grocery bag. I waited for him to glance my way. He didn't. But that moment, that sense of almost being seen, sent a chill down my spine. I backed away. Too fast. One heel twisted under my ankle, and I fell sideways, knocking the mirror off the dresser. It shattered. Shit. I scrambled up, breath ragged. Tiny shards sparkled across the floor like broken secrets. I tiptoed away, heart thudding, limbs shaking. My hands were trembling too hard to take the heels off. I tried peeling the dress over my head, but the zipper stuck. Then I heard another sound. A click. The front door. Liam? Emma's voice.
No.
She wasn't supposed to be home until midnight. The zipper still wouldn't budge. I yanked at it desperately as Emma's voice echoed down the hallway. Liam? I backed into the bathroom, slamming the door shut behind me. Just a sec. I called out, voice cracking in panic. I turned toward the mirror, catching my reflection in the fractured glass. The blue dress clung to me like a secret I couldn't peel away. My makeup, once pristine, was now smudged from sweat and panic. My hands wouldn't stop trembling. What do I do? What do I say? My mind raced. I could lie.
Pretend it was a prank. Say someone dared me.
Say it was for a TikTok. But deep down, I knew the lie would crack the same way the mirror had. She'd see through it. She always did. Liam? Are you okay? Her voice was closer now. Just outside the door. I swallowed hard.
Yeah.
Don't come in. I dropped something. There was a pause. Then her voice changed.
Softer.
Concerned. Is this about your dad? My breath caught. I leaned against the sink, pressing my palm to the cool porcelain. What do you mean? I whispered. I saw the missed calls on your phone. You've been avoiding him. I didn't answer. Another silence. Then, Liam, can I come in? I hesitated. If I let her in, everything would change. She'd see me, not just physically, but me. The me I wasn't sure she'd love. The me I wasn't even sure I loved. But if I kept hiding, I'd lose her anyway. My hand moved to the doorknob. Slowly.
Carefully.
I turned it. The door creaked open, and Emma stood there, coat still on, eyes widening as she took in the sight before her. The dress, the makeup, the broken mirror behind me. Her mouth opened.
Closed.
Wow, she said quietly. I looked down, ashamed. I was going to tell you. She stepped into the bathroom, shutting the door behind her.
For how long? She asked.
I swallowed. A while.
I don't know why.
It started small. Just curiosity. But then it became more than that. She didn't say anything, just studied me, not with judgment, but with intensity. I kept going. It's not just about clothes. It's like, when I do this, I feel lighter.
Calmer.
Like something inside me lines up. She exhaled slowly. And your dad saw this? I nodded. Walked in on me. Just like you did. But worse. She moved closer. Is that why you've been distant?
Yes.
I thought I could hide it, box it up again. but it keeps coming back. And now, I gestured helplessly at myself. Now I don't even know who I am. Emma reached out and touched my face.
Gently. You're still Liam, she said.
Just more complicated than I thought. I searched her eyes. Are you mad?
No, she said.
I'm just processing. And for a few seconds, we stood in silence. No yelling. No accusations. Just the quiet weight of truth sitting between us like a third person in the room. Then she smiled. You know, the blush is a bit heavy, but you've got great cheekbones. I laughed, a short, nervous laugh, but real. She pulled me into a hug, and I melted. That night, we talked. For hours. I told her everything. How it started. How it made me feel. The fear. The confusion. The thrill. The guilt. She listened.
Patiently.
Asked questions I didn't expect, like what name I'd choose if I ever wanted to explore this part of myself more fully. I didn't have one yet. And when I asked if this changed things between us, she said, I love you, not your wardrobe.
But the calm didn't last.
The next morning, I woke up to a text from Dad. We need to talk. Lunch.
Today.
No excuses. I stared at the message for a long time. Emma leaned over sleepy-eyed. That him? I nodded. You going? I didn't answer right away. I don't know if I can, I said finally. She reached for my hand. Then I'll go with you. We met him at a diner just off the highway. He was already sitting at the corner booth when we arrived, suit jacket off, coffee in hand. He stood when he saw Emma, gave her a brief nod, then looked at me. I was in jeans and a sweatshirt. Clean face. Hair brushed. Every trace of her erased. But I still felt exposed. We sat down. The silence stretched. Finally, he said, You look better. Emma stiffened beside me. I kept my voice even. You mean less like myself? He frowned.
No.
I mean, look, Liam. I've had time to think. I've read some things. About people like you. I raised an eyebrow. People like me? He cleared his throat. What I mean is, if this is a phase, I can handle that. If it's more than that, I don't know if I understand, but I want to try. That was new. I blinked. You want to try? He nodded. I'm not promising I'll get it right, but I don't want to lose my son. I hesitated. I might not always be your son, I said softly. At least, not in the way you're used to. That made him flinch, but he nodded again, then helped me understand. I looked at Emma. She squeezed my hand, and for the first time, I felt something shift, a possibility, a crack in the wall. Back home, I opened the box again. The clothes inside no longer felt like a secret. They felt like armor. Expression.
Me.
I pulled out the red lipstick. The same one I'd been wearing when Dad found me. I held it up to my lips, then paused. In the mirror, I didn't see shame anymore. I saw potential. Weeks passed. Not everything changed overnight. There were awkward silences. Missteps. Moments when Dad would glance at me too long, like he was trying to recognize someone in a crowd. But he showed up. That mattered. He texted.
Called.
Invited me over for dinner. Asked questions. Halting, uncertain questions, but questions nonetheless. And I answered. Sometimes Emma came with me. Sometimes I went alone. Once, he caught me wearing mascara and didn't say anything until the end of the night. As I was putting on my jacket, he said, You remind me of your mom when she was your age. She used to do that same wing thing with her eyes. I turned, surprised. You're not mad. He shrugged. I still don't get it, but I'm trying. And somehow that was enough. School, on the other hand, wasn't so forgiving. Rumors spread fast. I had to deal with snickers, whispers, and a few cruel nicknames shouted across the hallway. A couple of friends stopped texting back. One of my teachers gave me a weird look when I walked in with a light touch of foundation on. But for every door that shut, another cracked open. A girl named Harper complimented my eyeliner. A quiet junior from art class messaged me one night. Hey, I'm not out either, but seeing you be brave helped. And Emma stayed. She kissed me in front of everyone one morning, held my hand tighter when people stared. That alone made the pain worth it. One afternoon, I found Dad in the garage, fixing the old lawnmower, grease on his hands, country music playing in the background. I stood in the doorway, unsure how to start.
Dad.
He looked up. Yeah. I've been thinking. I might want to try going by a different name. Just sometimes. He wiped his hands on a rag. You have one in mind? I hesitated. Yeah, I said. Just drop there. It feels right. He was quiet for a moment. Then he gave a small nod. Okay, he said. Nice to meet you, Leah. I blinked, then smiled. Thanks, Dad. He nodded toward the toolbox. Want to hand me the wrench? And just like that, we moved forward. Later that night, I stood in front of the mirror again. Same cracked glass. Same vanity. But the reflection staring back at me didn't look scared anymore. My makeup was subtle. My hair pulled back with a clip Emma gave me. I wore a soft pink hoodie and black leggings. Simple. Comfortable. I leaned closer. Hi, I whispered. I'm Leah. The girl in the mirror smiled. And this time I smiled back.